Hello, and welcome to Billy Bob Norton's Philosophy on Higher Education. Now, I have to begin by telling you what I think about higher education in a little story. It's going to set the stage on my position on education. I was at a junkyard. I was looking to get a water pump off of 72 Nova. And while I was there, I happened to hear a little arguing over to the side. Like anybody, I kind of acted like I forgot a tool and I walked over there and was digging in the toolbox so I could listen a little closer to see what the fight was about. I was hoping fists would start. Anyway, what I came about was I saw a guy. You could tell he had a little college. And when he was arguing back and forth about the price of something, I think it was a strut, I'm not certain, I heard him really talk down his nose at the gentleman working at that junkyard. His name's Ben, great guy. Went fishing with him twice. And he somehow in that conversation mentioned that he had an MBA. Now, if you're like me, you would automatically assume that stood for Memphis Baptist Association. Shockingly enough, it does not. I spoke with Ben once that city slicker left, and he said it stood for Masters of Business in Administration. And I went home a little puzzled that night, and I asked my pa, I said, Daddy, what is an MBA? And he said, son, there's two things you need to know about an MBA. One, you need to know what it stands for, and that's a Master's in Business in Administration. But more importantly, you need to understand what it means. I said, Daddy, what does it mean? He says it means those lazy, brat-ass kids, the parents have money, are going to send them off to, escape reality for another couple of years, and then they're going to get out because they got a little book learning and get in positions to boss us hard-working men and women around. That makes sense to me, because my boss today, I don't know how much college he has, but I know he has some, and he does nothing but just boss me around and thinks that he's better than me, and he doesn't seem to understand my problems if I have to come in late, or my truck breaks down, or whatever. But let me get back to the story a little bit about higher education. The reason I brought up that story about the junkyard is that's how I got fascinated into the MBAs and the PhDs and all that. Well, I started thinking, I know I can boss people around pretty good. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I thought to myself, well, why don't I just go get me an MBA? So I went over to, I think it was Anne Arundel Community College. And I walked up, and I had to wait in this long, long line with kids. I can clearly see they don't work for a living, just by what they're wearing. And I asked that lady behind the desk, I said, ma'am, because you got to be polite, I'd like an MBA. That lady looked at me and said, me too. Now, I don't know why she looked at me like I was a clown or what the problem really was, but I didn't find it to be funny at all. I said, ma'am, I'm here to buy a higher education. She said, son, have you graduated from high school? And I said, practically. Now, I went to school for 12 years, but I only got to 10th grade. But I graduated 10 times. Now, she must have thought she was better than me because she wouldn't take my money. She was talking about having to get accepted, I guess, at some social club. She said that it cost $400. I said, that's okay, I'll give you $5. I had $700 in savings. She wouldn't take my money. She thinks I wasn't good enough. Well, I don't know about you, brother, but when somebody snubs me, that makes me determined. So what I did, I went to the library, and before I get going into the library, there's some weird people there. I mean, a library, people scratching themselves and home. I didn't care much for it, but the 4.5 hours I did research, I made a couple notes that I think better explain higher education. Now, I'm going to have to look at my notes just a second. When you go to college to get an MBA, one of the things they teach you is public speaking. Hey, I already know how to speak in public. You got something to say? Say it. Just don't spray it. That's good. But the point is, I'm not going to no college so they can tell me how to stand in front of somebody and make a couple comments. That's just simply ridiculous. Right? Anyway, let me look at my notes. 2, negotiating. Now this is the most absurd thing I ever did here. Now how many of you don't know how to negotiate? Have you been to a flea market? Well, if it's a flea market, you go over there and say, hey, how much for that hammer? Sign says $2. Are you going to pay $2? I guess not. Maybe get $1.25. Now, is that negotiating? So do I need to go off and get an MBA? What? Tell him, hey, buddy, I'm really going to look at your price and offer you less. That's just crazy. Negotiating. Anyway, just a moment. International business. Now, doesn't this just take the cake? Half my tools come from China. Does that not make me an international businessman? Hey, let me answer your question. You get a screwdriver, right? You put it in preferably a Phillips. You put it in a screw and go to turn it, and that little tip just bends the hell right off. Now, would that happen with the Craftsman? I think not. No. But it happens with that China junk, right? I put up with that crap. I buy it. I think I'm an international businessman. The long and short of this whole discussion with the public speaking and the negotiation, the international businessman, what I'm saying is, if someone would just take the time to get to know me, they'd understand I got street smarts. Can I swing a shovel? Or axe or what? Yes, I can. Doesn't mean I don't have no learning. So, with this, what I'm telling you, if you're listening to Billy Bob's philosophy, I'm going to tell you what, brother. Don't you dare let those MBAs and doctorates and everything look down on you. You know what's going on. You stand there, you bow your back, young man. You tell them they can kiss your ass. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, with that, that's Billy Bob Norton's position on education. Now, I hope that you'll take the opportunity to tell your friends so they can feel not only better about themselves, but feel better about other people, and maybe they'll even understand why those rich-ass pansy but MBAs act the way they do. I appreciate your time. I look forward to talking with you about another problem, another day. That's Billy Bob Norton. Thank you.